Land, a key source of livelihood for many communities across Africa. For farmers to gain access to new local and global customers and markets, producers need to adopt good agricultural practices to ensure they meet market requirements and local as well as international standards in producing safe food, improve efficiency of their farm processes and management. With the aim of improving competitiveness of small-scale farmers in 12 counties of Kenya, MARKUP Kenya intent was to enhance quality and safety standards in select vegetables, fruits, nuts, herbs and spices. This in turn strengthened and helped promote good agricultural practices.
MARKUP means market access. Basically, the whole concept of this project is to increase market access of selected horticultural value chains so that we can be able to export more of those value chains, especially to EU and other buyers of Kenya horticultural products, so that we can create jobs for young people and women in rural areas, increase production.
Hasa mwaka huu tumeweza kulima mishiri kwa wingi zaidi. Ni kwa sababu yale mafunzo tuliyofunzwa na tukaweza kuwa na mapato mengi.
UNIDOL, in partnership with KEFIS, under the MARKUP program, developed the Phytosanitary Inspection Guide Manual and trained 76 inspectors from 4 counties on the phytosanitary inspection.
It was very important to, successfully and effectively implement the ISO 20025, which talks about the competency of testing labs and calibration labs. Therefore, we also support in terms of trainings for this standard. It was a new revision of the standard. It had new elements in it, and therefore we wanted to understand these new elements so that we can implement the requirements. And now, once we are accredited to that standard, then our clients and customers will have confidence in our test results, and therefore we got that kind of a support.
MARKUP also worked with county extension officers to train farmers on global GAP standards.
Extension officers are the first point of contact with farmers and producers. So we train them on key requirements for buyers that want to buy our horticultural products, and one of them is called Global GAP. Global GAP means Global Good Agricultural Practices. So you need to have been trained on that so that the buyers can accept to buy your produce, because it means the produce has been grown with due regard to and good environmental practices, proper usage of pesticides, as well as good labor practices within the growing.
Prior to farmers acquiring the global GAP skills, a lot went into strengthening the national quality infrastructure's regulatory framework and capacities to enable smooth implementation on the ground, including traceability regulation issues and how they are managed.
What MARKUP has done and how they have worked is through providing technical support. So technical support is just looking at the weakness within the system, particularly the inspection system, the regulatory system for regulatory agencies, and be able to focus their interventions based on those regulatory weaknesses that are there within the regulatory institutions.
Traceability has also been key, especially in ensuring exporters adhere to the standards of regulators.
We felt that traceability was missing in the inspection checklist. And of course, these aspects of traceability are also not comprehensive in the standard. And it's something which we look forward to upgrading our standards so that it also reflects a lot on traceability of horticultural products.
Through the help of MARKUP Kenya, exporters now have to declare their traceability source and information once they're licensing. With
the MARKUP intervention, we had to change on how we did our certification system because we required that an exporter declares their traceability source, traceability information at the point when they are licensing. However, if you look at the operations of exporters, how they source their produce keeps on changing depending on also the dynamics they face when they are in the farm.
Part of the training farmers received was on the regulation of pesticide residue and set limits of compliance.
One of the activities that was involved in the whole campaign was the development of directive and informatory videos that will give a graphic view to the audience on how to responsibly use the pest control products. This included the use of how to use the personal protective equipment, commonly called PPE. There was also how to responsibly purchase from a PCPB licensed agro dealer. There was also the responsible disposal of pest control product empty containers. And these are key crucial areas that the farmer needed information to enhance their sustainable use of pesticides.
Pest Control and Products Board enforced the safe use of pest control products.
Through the project that was supported by MARKUP, we have seen an increase in awareness of farmers knowing the right pesticide to use and knowing how to do the right purchasing of pest control products.
With gaps related to skills development, laboratory equipment and proficiency testing to maintain quality requirements, MARKUP Kenya and the Kenya Bureau of Standards were able to work together in improving the skill level of staff in relation to the international standards, which is the ISO IEC 17025.
There were gaps related to skills development and also laboratory equipment and also issues to do with the proficiency testing to maintain accreditation in the laboratories so as to maintain the quality requirements required to assist the private sector.
The review of the regulatory framework has also impacted on guiding exporters on how to set up systems for food safety.
AFA is here to regulate us. AFA is here to ensure that we are compliant. We have all the certifications. We meet all the criteria for export. They check on what we are shipping out. They also do farm inspections. They ensure that also even our staff are compliant, and even the agents or the brokers that we deal with are also registered with them. So they come in to regulate and also bring sanity into the market.
Reliable market access boosts productivity. Better access to domestic and international markets allows small producers to reliably sell more produce with better quality and higher prices.
Initially, we used to sell our fruits locally at a price of 70 shillings per kilo, which was so low. And after we got to know about MARKUP and everything, training and the quality, we used to produce quality. We could produce quality fruits, and now at that point we had acquired a seller who used to export and could get fruits from us, top grade fruit from us at a price of 150 shillings per kilo.
We work with farmers who have been contracted by the exporters. In the horticulture sector, a farmer is not allowed to grow independently. So they're expected to have a production contract with an exporter. And then through the exporters, we get to the farmers who are contracted to them, and then they supply the produce to them.
This in turn encourages farmers to invest in their own businesses and increase the quality, quantity, and diversity of goods they produce.
Kumekuwa na mabadiliko makubwa baada ya MARKUP kukuja na kutrain wakulima. Unapata awali tulikuwa nanunua tu, naweza sema reja, lakini sio kabisa kumaanisha reja, kwa sababu hatukuwa nayo certificate na tulikuwa tunauza pia kupitia kwa kampuni nyingine. So baada ya sisi kuwa certified, unapata sisi ndio tunadeal na soko directly, na kimapato imeweza kusaidia wakulima kwa sababu ule mkulima ako globally certified, unapata bei ambayo ananunulia kwa kilo ilikuja ikapanda zaidi ukikompare na miaka ya hapo awali.
Mainstream media and social media, especially through podcasts, played a major role in spreading the message to reach young farmers, which in turn had a significant impact within a short period.
As a national broadcaster, we are in all 47 counties as opposed to other media stations. I've been able, through my shows, I've been able to reach many farmers and tell them more about export requirements, phytosanitary requirements, and food safety standards. I've been receiving quite a positive feedback and inquiries from farmers who want to know more about phytosanitary standards and food safety standards in general.
Welcome once again to this beautiful Friday morning right here from a Farmers Media. One of the campaigns that we did was the safe use of pesticide, and I remember when I was talking about this campaign, we were also interviewing farmers just to get to understand what they're doing, what kind of practices, especially interestingly trying to help them understand what the global good agricultural practices are all about. So the kind of feedback we receive, you hear farmers saying, in fact now, because we are scouting before spraying, we're using less chemicals. That particular campaign, I think we ran it for around I think it was around 4 months. We had a reach of 170,000 farmers who really consumed the information.
Hi everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sheila, and this is a Mazao Talks webinar.
The most innovative thing about Mazao Talks was that it wasn't just a podcast. What we built with Mazao Talks was a platform for peer-to-peer exchange. So what we were creating was a way for people to gain knowledge, but also to then exchange knowledge amongst themselves. And so a big part of the Mazao Talks process, and when we share this as a case study, the biggest part is that we combined the production of the podcast and the knowledge, that research and knowledge that went into that, with a very, very robust digital media campaign. And so this content is available in audio format in multiple platforms, but was also available as a social media thread in Twitter, posts on Instagram, posts on Facebook, and that was a critical piece, because with that we're able to really expand the reach of the content. I think by the end of the first phase of the project we were doing 4 million impressions a month, which is probably the biggest corporate podcast in the country at the time.
Lack of employment and jobs in Kenya, especially for the youth, has generated interest in agribusiness, which now dominates 70% of the rural workforce, which is now an alternative for more young farmers in Kenya.
The future is agriculture, and that is why we decided to venture into farming. Imetusaidia kulipa school fees, inalipa bills 1, 2, 3. It is a nice venture.
As we finish the project, I see this like a reference point, that at some point, years to come, we'll see that we created a foundation for growth of Kenyan export value chains to EU and other international buyers.